You got a second? Okay.
If you look at the history of preschool television, there is a phenomenon that has taken over the world twice. On one side, you have a dog from New Jersey whose paw prints helped a generation of kids solve puzzles using just their crayon and a notebook. On the other, you have a family of Australian healers who are currently teaching the entire world how to play again. At first glance, it feels like a weird coincidence. Like, why is it always a blue dog? When you really look at these two shows, however, you realize they aren't just similar by accident. They represent a massive shift in how we talk to children. Today, we are looking at the Blue Dog legacy, from the logic of Blue's Clues to the emotional depth of Bluey. Before we talk about the impact, let's address the most ironic thing these shows share. Both of these blue dogs are also girls. In the 90s, almost everyone assumed that Blue was a boy because she was blue. That color was pushed so hard for boys back then that the idea of a blue female lead actually shocked people. We're seeing the exact same thing happen today with Bluey. People are often genuinely surprised to find out Bluey and her sister Bingo are both girls.
That's Bluey!
Oh, yeah, because he's blue.
I'm a girl!
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
By using a traditionally boy color, both shows broke out of the girl show box before the episode even started. This allowed them to be soft and nurturing without being sidelined, creating a space where kids aren't defined by a color. It gives these shows a universal appeal that most creators would kill for. To understand the foundation, you have to look at Blue's Clues.
We are gonna play Blue's Clues, cause it's a really great game. Yeah.
The show functions like a learning machine for toddlers. The setup is simple. A guy named Steve lives in a house with an animated puppy named Blue. Blue wants to tell Steve something, but Blue can't talk, so she leaves her paw prints on 3 different objects, or clues. Steve's job is to find them, to draw them in his handy-dandy notebook, and sit in his thinking chair to utilize logic and clues to solve the mystery of what Blue is asking for that day, with the help of friends, of course. The show was built on a mastery model. They played the same episode every day for a week straight because if a kid can predict what happens, they feel confident, and confident kids learn better. Then there was the Steve pause.
Do you? Great.
Steve would ask the camera a question, look directly into the lens, and just wait. That silence was a revolution. To an adult, it felt like dead air. But for a kid, it was an invitation. It was the show saying, I know you know the answer, and I'm going to wait for you to say it. This model was so successful that it still exists with minimal changes in its newest reincarnation 30 years later, Blue's Clues in You. Because it was essentially perfect the first time, you can see the roots of this style in the biggest shows of today. If you've seen Miss Rachel, you're seeing the modern version of that Steve era. The extreme close-ups, the direct address, and the long pauses for a child to respond are all there. It's the same instructional foundation, using basic building blocks of language and logic by treating the screen as a two-way conversation. While Blue's Clues focused on an academic mastery, the industry eventually shifted toward emotional intelligence. You can see the roots of this in Fred Rogers and his show Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He proved you could talk to the kids about heavy feelings using a quiet voice. He didn't focus on ABCs, he focused on the reality of being a kid. Bluey is the modern evolution of that philosophy. If Mr. Rogers was about talking to a child about their feelings, Bluey is about showing those feelings in action. It's like the members of the neighborhood grew up and moved into a house with a backyard and became 2 tired parents in their own neighborhood. This is where Bluey changes the game. The show is set in Brisbane, Australia, and follows the Healer family, comprising of 6-year-old Bluey, her sister Bingo, and their parents Bandit and Chili. Unlike Blue's Clues, there are no puzzles, and the plot is usually just a 7-minute window into a game of pretend. Think about older shows about play, like Max and Ruby. Usually, the conflict there was static. Ruby would boss Max around, Max would do his own thing, and the episode just ended, usually with Max winning whatever petty argument they were having. The Healer girls, who the creator modeled after his own 2 daughters at that age, are different. For example, in the episode Butterflies, Bluey leaves Bingo behind to play with an older kid. When Bingo gets her feelings hurt, they don't just move on. Bluey has to face the fact that she was unkind. They talk through the hurt. They negotiate, and they learn how to apologize. It's showing kids and parents what real conflict resolution looks like through play. Unlike many programs where the problem is solved with a quick joke or a convenient reset, Bluey allows the emotional weight of the conflict to linger. It shows that navigating feelings is a process that requires effort rather than a simple happy ending. The role of the adults changed as well. In the 90s, parents were basically invisible in TV shows. In Blue's Clues, Steve was the only adult, and even he was acting as more of a surrogate big brother in a world that was built for the kid alone. This isolation mirrored the real-life experience of many 90s and 2000s children, who were often expected to navigate their own logic and learning while their actual parents were occupied with the demands of chores and work. The hands-off nature of parenthood in that era made it easy for these programs to be used as babysitter shows, or a reliable tool to keep a child engaged while the adults manage the household. Bluey is a show about a family. Bandit and Chili are main characters. They aren't perfect, and we get to see them exhausted and make mistakes. For the first time, a preschool show is talking to the parents just as much as the kids. It's something you watch together because it helps you understand your own family dynamic. We still need both of these models. Blue's Clues gives kids the confidence to solve puzzles and speak. Bluey gives them the tools to handle their emotions and connect with people. Over time, we've moved from the thinking chair to the backyard. We've moved from what is the answer to how are you feeling? And both of these blue dogs prove that the best way to talk to a kid is just to meet them where they're at. I've done my part hitting rewind. Now it's your turn. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the like button and subscribe. Keep the tape running and let me know in the comments what era you want to visit next. In our next episode, we're venturing into Marzipan City and the nautical madness that is the marvelous misadventures of Flapjack. We're going to look at how one weird candy-coated voyage accidentally birthed the entire 2010s Cartoon Network animation era. So stay tuned.
I'm not taking advice from a cartoon dog.